Okay, just a quick update. Somebody asked me on the YouTube there how the front end of the Belarus is doing. So there's the U-joint that got put in. I no longer run with the shielding here. Now, it does protect you, but I mean, you're driving around and when you get off the tractor, it's stopped. The tractor's not in motion, so I think it's low risk having the guarding off. You can debate that all you want. I've been driving with it off because I think part of the problem why this U-joint self-destructed was the trash that builds up in here is unbelievable. So you get ice and snow and frozen mud in the winter, and I think that contributes to the problem with these. So if they're open, you're more likely to have a look at it. So there's the U-joint that was replaced probably 3 years ago. 2 for sure, I think it was 3. So the U-joint had to be fixed, and the housing for the final drive. All the gears inside were still good, but I put new bearings in and seals. So most of it's available on the internet. The Belarus store, Canada, tractorparts.com. There's a guy on eBay that's really good. He's out of Belarus or the Ukraine. He can get you whatever you want for these tractors. So the only thing that's a little bit different is that final drive sits back about 5 degrees to straight compared to that one. I have no idea why, but it's done it since I reinstalled it. It shouldn't. There's nothing except that steering linkage that would pull it back. The axle certainly isn't right here. So it appears to be fine. We don't have any trouble with it that I'm aware of. In fact, I think the steering's actually gotten better on it. So that's the U-joint and the final drive housing that we replaced. If I recall correctly, it was about somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,500 by the time this tractor was back together, but that could have included about $350 for a new tire. I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to go through all the farm receipts, and I don't know if I have them at home or if the accountant has them. One other thing that I've done that I think has made a huge difference is I cut that front end off the hood, and I took some punch plate and I made a guard up. Part of the problem with these tractors is I don't think they anticipated them having a loader on, and I don't think they get the airflow with the loader. The loader never comes off this tractor. The only thing that changes is the bale spear to the bucket, and even when we're haying, if the bale spear is not on, then it's just got no front end attachment. I don't think that fan gets the airflow it needs with that loader bracket right there, and it doesn't pull enough air through that housing. Since I cut that hole in the front, we haven't had the hydraulics overheat. They've gotten hot still, but they haven't overheated. It's not at 120 all the time like it was before. If I were to do it again, I make it slightly bigger. I think I got 1.25 inches here to play with. I would have bring this right up here, and I don't think I got a whole lot to play with on the bottom because there's a bracket, but I would have bring it down a little bit further and maybe a little bit out to the sides. I mean, it's pretty minuscule. It's probably something like 10% of the surface area. Maybe I'd look at straightening these up a little bit. This one's protected by the front end loader mount. These you may want to just straighten a little bit. Still have to consider going down the road with it. You don't want a bunch of mud and rocks and snow and stuff flying up in there, getting sucked in through the fan, getting sucked in through the belts, that kind of stuff. So the Belarus has 2 new front tires on it, and it needs new back tires. They're starting to crack pretty bad. I think it was from pushing manure this year in the cows. The sides are really starting to go. That's unfortunate because I snapped the valve stem off when I had this out at my father-in-law's, and this side's actually got a brand new tube in it. So it's about $380 by the time you pay for the labor and the tube. The tube was about 150 of that. So anyways, this tire is actually probably the better out of the two on the back. This one is probably the worst one. It's been leaking calcium for a while. The rim's getting a little rusted up from it, but I want to kind of get as much out of these tires as I can because the tread life is still good. These are probably originals. They're the Russian manufacturer. So I've got one spare tire up in the garage that would go on here on this side. It actually has a new rim, so we'll see which rim is in the better condition. And then I've been looking for a tire for this side. This 13.6 by 38, I think. Yeah, 38. It's a hard size to find here, at least in Alberta. Maybe not so much over in Europe or something. They're skinnier tire. They're taller and they're a skinnier tire. Like compared to the Massey here, this is an 18.4-34, so they're wide, and they're about the same height. I think these are slightly taller, but it's how all the profile works out with the rim and everything. So anyways, that's an update that was asked for the tractor U-joint. And like I say, it was in the neighborhood of about $1,500 to rebuild that front axle when it snapped off. So the parts, you can't walk into somebody in town and get the parts, but I mean, a lot of our stuff that's older, you can't walk into John Deere and get the parts. They gotta order it up out of the States, and Case and Heston and White and Massey, they're all the same. Everything's down in the States. They don't want to warehouse anything up here anymore, especially for the older tractors. So you're waiting a week anyways. So, I mean, coming out of the Ukraine or Belarus, wherever I got the parts, it took a week to 10 days. It wasn't a lot of difference. And like I say, the one guy that I got a lot of the parts off of, he was really reasonable to deal with. We're not sure. The box was slightly ajar when I got it, and I asked for a gasket kit to be included, and he claims he put one in. And when I got it, the flap was cut a little bit with the tape, like it'd gone through an inspection, and I didn't find a gasket kit, so he just sent one over, no problem. So he's on eBay, and I think he's called the Belarus Tractor Shop. But he's easy to find. He's got pages and pages of parts for these little girls. So anyways, we'll see ya.